This is called the Sustainability and Corporate Success Conference. It has quite a bit of content we're hoping that are going to address these kind of issues for big and small companies. What are the trends? What are consumers looking for? What kind of companies are getting into green industry? What is working in the energy field? Maybe what isn't? What's the consumer looking for? What is it meant by greening of the supply chain? And just taking a look at these issues from much more of a corporate perspective, as opposed to just the traditional policy, political nuances.
Automation Alley is a 1,000-member technology association in southeast Michigan. We service 8 counties and the city of Detroit, and our goal is to brand the region as a center for excellence in technology and make sure that it's known globally. So as a result of that, we go on trade missions around the world. We brought back $150 million in contracts, invested $26 million in 29 companies with seed funds so that they could bring their technologies to market. We do a host of things here and work with a talented staff that helps us deliver that.
First of all, they should learn what sustainability means. There are multiple definitions, and so what does it mean for their organization? And then understand, what are you doing today as an organization? Everybody's doing something around sustainability or sustainable business practices. It's a necessity. I think from a resource consumption standpoint, everybody understands that we cannot continue to create this huge environmental footprint because it costs money for our businesses. So what are you doing today? What does sustainability mean for your organization, and where do you want to go next? And then integrate that into your overall business strategy.
Well, we hope to get them familiar with some of the terminology. I think that's a big one. I think there's a lot of terms that have green influence that are more hype than reality. And how do we develop a dialogue at the corporate level that's far more transparent and measurable in our goals? How do we measure that? Do we measure it by dollars saved? Do we measure it by reduced energy usage? But we have to get away from just some of the marketing hype, because I think that's become a bit of a turnoff.
Well, sustainability at one point was sort of a fringe thing. It was an ecological movement, an environmental movement back in the late 60s and early 70s. Clearly, 1 billion people on Earth Day participating in this past few weeks. What was on the fringe has now become mainstream. Earth Day, sustainability, environmentalism are part of the woof and warp of American culture.
Well, I hope attendees take away with an understanding that while they may think their niche or their company is outside of an impact from this green movement, we're all affected by it. Every corporation operates with questions regarding energy, paper usage, water, recycling, and what does that mean for their company, and what does that mean for when they move forward to make decisions about what markets they're going to move into, how they're going to invest, and how are investors looking at these issues, how are banks financing, and what are their preferences. So it's much more of an impact on companies that never thought they'd be impacted by these issues.
I hope that they do something, and they understand. I would say that sustainable business practices are valuable for an organization. I don't think that it's should I do it anymore? It's I have to do it, and what am I going to do, and what makes sense for my business.
Well, from the other speakers, I learned a great deal about some of the support that's provided for green initiatives at the local, state, and federal levels. It's amazing the resources that are available out there. What's equally amazing is how few business entrepreneurs and city governments are taking advantage of some of these opportunities. There are environmental consultants out there that have an amazing array of expertise that can help people become more sustainable, and they're worth every penny that they get paid. But you would think that businesses and government entities and even educational institutions would be more aware of some of the opportunities for funding and support out there at the federal, state, and local levels.
This Greening of the Great Lakes vodcast is produced by Michigan State University and News Talk 760 WJR for MLive.com.